Hi, I'm Sheila, and we are continuing with the Handbook for the New Paradigm, and we are in volume 2 of this 3 volume set, Embracing the Rainbow, session number 16. For those of you who are following along in the book, we are on page 183. When the time comes for the beginning of the changeover of consciousness, through the conversion of the critical number of the necessary percentage, the ripple effect will seem to be unnoticeable. That must be why I've always felt like having conscious conversations were so important. Just making it the norm, not out of the normal to speak on things. Just as the number of people who now believe that there is interplanetary travel has now reached the critical mass, a remainder still staunchly reject the acceptance of this belief. But that rejection is a shell to protect the rest of their beliefs. For if they are wrong about extraterrestrial visits, then they must entertain the possibility that some or all their beliefs are possibly false. There are compelling reasons that the evidence of these visits has been so vehemently denied by both governmental and religious powers. Yet it provided them with a fear weapon, and the temptation to use it as such seduced them into bringing it forth as fanciful entertainment. That Earth governments had the abilities to develop the capability was offered in positive possibility within futuristic settings, just as the first attempts to leave the planet itself were idealized. The nonsense of the distortions is indeed ludicrous when viewed in the true picture. However, the truth has escaped their best efforts, and it has indeed put a sizable crack in the acceptance of their carefully concocted depiction of who and what mankind is and the cosmology of its existence. The denial of the existence of anything that has enough people with actual experiences now using the available communications to tell their stories is causing the crumbling of the foundations of the credibility of the whole lie. This was done not by shocking the population with a big expose, but instead nibbling away at it a little at a time. Now the credibility gap is enough that through this doubt, greater truth is being readily accepted. The truth is that this planned bid for global power was set into motion indeed thousands of years ago. Incredible as it seems when the known, quote, ancient history is researched and traced back. The plan lays open to discerning minds and is available in print, though the conclusions are not entirely clear. There are no secrets in manifested reality. The further along the evolution of self-aware beings, the more easily situations and other beings are perceived and understood. The temptation to exploit those of lesser evolvement is great indeed in the midst of experience modes between positive and negative experiences. Victim consciousness is the epitome of the negative experience. It draws through the law of attraction like energy, or in other words, it draws situations that exploit that consciousness. In acquiring this understanding, it is then obvious that the very first step humanity on this planet must achieve in order to transcend this mode of experience is to shed victim consciousness and regain the self-empowerment mode. I could not agree more. Put the quarter in. Until the crack in the seemingly, quote, airtight education of mankind as to his place within the cosmology of the galaxy or universe widens, it is difficult to expect many to accept the truth that the Father/God of the past and present is a hoax. This is because, first, there must be something demonstrable in an experiential fashion that will replace it. And it must be the absolute truth. I don't understand why that has to be like that, why it's so hard to see that it is a human trait to want to put persona on creation. Why is that so difficult? In this process, giving up the victim consciousness through self-empowerment is the beginning step. In order to do this, self-awareness, the ability to consider the individual self over the group loyalty, is basic. Me first has been exploited through the encouragement of selfish, sexual, and materialistic practices as a guard to prevent the discovery of this basis of the human expression of who and what manifested life is. When this next fissure in their foundation becomes a wide enough crack, then the bitter contents of their house of cards will pour forth with the repercussions that will lift the human consciousness despite their efforts to enslave it. As the law of attraction works, they draw to themselves like energies/experiences, because that is the way it operates. Thought, thinking within itself. Boy, this makes so much more sense to me now on so many levels. The laws of the universe indeed work in mysterious ways to allow for return to balance, while allowing expansiveness through wisdom gained in experience of both the positive and negative expressions. Neither is inactive. Both are at play simultaneously, thus keeping the balance. During the time spent at the point of balance, all is at rest, just as there is a moment between breaths. During each act of breathing, various functions that are either positive or negative proceed within the body unnoticed because of the governing of the functions of the nerve system in the body. This can be correlated back to the galaxy in comparing the governing system that functions in the fashion of the nervous system. I've said that before myself, that we create as we move. The same as we breathe, as we move. It is a fact of nature. And it is our focus, attention, intention, attention. Oh, so much the attention, right? The human body is a marvelous expression that has the capacity of mimicking its source and can function at many levels of holographic and dimensional experience. The gift of an experience within one is to be greatly appreciated and honored. Those beings experiencing in what might be termed older models desire greatly to have the capabilities of your improved one. Thus, you have visitors bent on making this happen, but meaning no harm to you. The methodology reflects many of the capabilities theirs lack. For those remembering this experience of interacting with them, this is difficult to accept as reason for these situations. I'm not quite sure what that is exactly referring to there, but that's very interesting. Nonetheless, permission was asked and received at a level of consciousness that is not yet available to their awareness. Those granting this are greatly appreciated for this gift of greater life experience that will be the result. Indeed, there have also been visits from a very much older group that left their unwanted mark long ago, and they have been barred from returned visits. Any further returns will be with severe repercussions for those individuals, for these would be without the approval of their kind, their own kind. This brings forth the previous mention of an extraterrestrial group that are not only assisting the group planning enslavement, but in actuality carry great anger toward this planet. These beings attempted to take over this planet not long after humanity was marooned on it. Not comprehending the warlike genetic alteration, even though they had superior weaponry and control technologies, humanity repulsed them. Retribution has been planned since that long ago time. The control and enslavement plan has been theirs from the beginning. That they come and go and confer with the hierarchy of the planners is kept secret. Thus, you have secret societies within secret societies. Eternity is a long sequential time, and so they have slowly and carefully laid their plans over many, many years in your counting. The planetary awareness of this presence, which could not be totally hidden, has been translated into Satan or the devil, and thus the tool of fear has been implanted and personified so that you hold it in your consciousness and resist it in a non-reality mode. Those that have been influenced into being the stooges in this long-standing plan reflect the consciousness of those they consider benefactors, and they in turn are attracted by the victim stance and consciousness of the rest of humanity. They have not fathomed the plan that is behind the one they are being guided to perpetrate on their fellow humans. If the total plan is allowed by humanity to be completed, the planet may or may not be habitable. Those particular extraterrestrials do not care so long as they are able to achieve their revenge. Indeed, they are farther out of balance than Earth. There is much to be accomplished in the scenario that is playing itself out in these pivotal days that are upon Earth and all her inhabitants. Oh, and that's the end of number 16. And so next up, we go with number 17. And I think that one will be the last for today. And we'll be right back with that one.